What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of the Ask the Ox Show, Lucrative Answers. We are here to help you guys out with your insurance claims, property claims. We are public adjusters nationwide in the United States of America. Looking forward to answering and helping you guys out. With me, as always, is social media producer, Mazzani Speaks. What's happening, Mazzani?
Where am I? Oh, okay.
There she is.
No, nothing much. Great. Ready to ask some questions.
Yeah, hey, and also in the back, we got, for you guys that are new to the show, we got Ryan's kicking the producer there. And you see Kenny Payne way back there. What's up, Kenny Payne?
What's happening?
Kenny's one of our field. He's actually our field manager, public adjuster here with Fat Ox. He is a very vast wealth of knowledge, so he'll be chiming in, helping answer your questions out there. If you're an adjuster, or if you're a homeowner or a property owner, you guys got questions about insurance claims, we can help you out. We'll be glad to do our best at that. Let me preface this by saying that we are not giving legal advice, and everything that we say, we do encourage you to do your own research. Make sure that it is accurate. It's a disclaimer. We do not want to be responsible for something that maybe is miscommunication or misunderstood on your part. But by all means, absolutely, always reach out to us if you have questions after the show or on social media. You can ask us questions or you can give us a call. Check out our website, www.bigfatox.com. All right. What do you say, Mazzani? You want to get kicked off with our first question here?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get it done.
Okay.
This one's from Ryan Craigie. He wants to know, I have a ceiling stain. Should I file a claim?
Oh, that's a very typical question. We get that a lot. My wire's messing up here. I have a ceiling stain. Yeah. I wouldn't say just immediately, just because you see water dripping or water staining on your ceiling, you should automatically think that it would require an insurance claim. Depends on what it is and depends on the amount of the damage. Obviously, if it's a large leak and it's caused your ceiling to cave in and you got a lot of problems like that, there definitely could be a cause for a claim. But if it's just a little spot, it could be just a little leak, could be some caulking or a seal that's loosened on your roof. Probably would not recommend a claim for something as little as that. Or your roof could be completely compromised. And I guess it also depends on which ceiling, right? Kenny, what do you think about that? You think it's, like if it's a first-story ceiling and if it's a two-story house and it's like the first story, it might not have anything to do with the roof.
Well, you could very well still have a claim. It just may not be a roof claim. A lot of misinformation is because somebody has a ceiling stain in their dining room on their first floor of their house, and they have a bathroom right above it, but they have somebody knock the door and tell them that they got roof damage. It could typically not be roof damage. It could just be a leaky tub or a leaky toilet.
Yeah, or it could be a roof. Could be a roof leak. I mean, it could be some shingles around a pipe boot that come out, especially if it's if it's around your bathroom. All the bathrooms have vent pipes that go up through your roof, plumbing pipes that go through. You can stand in the backyard usually and see your roof, see the pipes sticking up through the roof. A lot of times the boots on those will deteriorate. If your roof's 12, 15 years old or older, something like that, the boots on those will deteriorate. They have these little rubber grommets around them, and they'll fall apart. And also hailstorms can break those rubber grommets and cause them to start leaking all of a sudden. You didn't even know about it, but hail's broken it. So,
yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty typical question. Obviously, when somebody sees their roof is leaking, they think that's going to be a big problem, and they think that they should have to file a claim. And my answer is not immediately. Definitely consult, maybe even get a contractor in there, check it out. You can always call a local public adjuster. You can call Fat Ox, of course. And ask us of our opinion. Send us some pictures. In the comments below, you can always post your pictures. And on our social media, you can always send in your pictures, ask us questions, and we'll be glad to offer you, for what it's worth, some free advice on that kind of stuff, whether or not you should pursue a claim. Most public adjusters are going to shoot straight with you. They do not want to get involved in a claim that's not going to be beneficial. So then, they're going to tell you up front whether or not you should pursue that as a claim. Kenny, what is that sound? Toilet?
It just got me thinking about the ceiling stain in the first floor. Probably the toilet.
So So you're saying my opinion is toilet water? It needs to be flushed?
No, no. Just sometimes, people. A lot of times, what we run into is somebody sees a water stain in the ceiling or even on the wall or whatever. Most people think cha-ching. That's going to be a cut and dry paid out claim.
I can't see Kenny. There he is. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Kenny. That's good. Well, that's a pretty good question. I appreciate you guys asking that. As always, if you have more questions, you can, like I said, you can send them to us in our social media, and you can call our 800 number. Mazzani, what do you think? Are we ready for another question there?
Sure.
All right, good deal. Let's do it.
This question comes from Ryan Craigie. He wants to know, can I file a claim if I'm selling my house?
Not only can you file a claim, I think you absolutely should file a claim. I think you're crazy not to file a claim. If you're selling your house and you've been paying insurance for all the time that you've owned that house, and you have damage to the exterior of your home at the very least, let's say you may have roof damage or siding damage or something like that from a storm, from a windstorm. In my opinion, I think you're crazy not to file a claim. If you've been paying month after month for an insurance company to cover your exterior, your home, and your roof, and if during that time, let's say a year ago or something, there was a big hailstorm, you didn't even know about it, or a big windstorm, and it broke your shingles on your roof, it lifted them and bent them and cracked them and broke your roof, or it had wind-driven debris. Wind-driven debris is covered in most policies, where that means, like, after a big heavy storm, there's lots of limbs and leaves and stuff laying all around the ground. Kidding. What was that?
That's taken off.
Yeah, so you got a lot of limbs and stuff laying on the ground. I would say absolutely file a claim and see if that's damaged. I mean, the way you got to think about it is that insurance company owes you for that roof. So if let's say you have hail damage all over your roof, you sell that house, you cancel that policy and move on to your next house, you start a new policy at your new house. That means that damaged roof from the prior claim the insurance company's never going to pay for that. What that means is the new homeowner is going to set up and start a new policy from the day they bought the house. And let's say 2 months later they file a claim, the insurance company is going to come out and say, oh, that damage is from before you bought the house, to the new owner, which means it was when you owned the house as the current owner. So I would say absolutely, if you're selling your house, file a claim. Now here's a question. Do you have to replace the roof? If you file a claim and the insurance company comes out and pays you for that roof, now the question is, and a lot of realtors, listen to me, realtors, a lot of you guys don't like to encourage home sellers to file a claim because you're concerned that it will bog down the sale process. Well, here's technically the seller, the person filing the claim, doesn't have to replace the roof. I mean, that's another way that you can increase your profit on selling the house, by filing the claim, because the insurance company owes you what's called actual cash value for the damaged property that happened before you sold the house. So the only time that you have to replace the roof is if you're going to claim the recoverable depreciation. So let's say the insurance company says, okay, we're going to pay you $10,000 for your roof, and we're only going to pay you $7,000 up front because that's all we owe you, seven grand, and then the remaining $3,000 will pay to you once you've done the repairs and replaced the roof, because that's the recoverable depreciation. So if you don't replace the roof and you don't ever recover the depreciation, that actual cash value is your money. You can do whatever you want with it. That's the money they owe you for the damages that were caused to the house. So if you were selling your house for X amount of dollars, and in this scenario you got another $7,000 for your insurance claim. I mean, we have a customer that we helped that was $22,000. She had a fairly big roof. She sold her house, got the actual cash value of $22,000, and increased her sale profit by 22 grand. She didn't replace the roof. She took that money and gone, because that's what she was owed by the insurance company. Does that make sense? Now, of course, if you have a deal with a current buyer that you're going to replace the roof, then it definitely is advantageous to file a claim and use that money, replace the roof, collect the recoverable depreciation, and then make sure that it's taken care of for the new buyer. But anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Kenny, you got anything you want to add to that?
I mean, if you're going to sell your house and you're going to file a claim, you have to tell yourself that this could be a process. You can't put a time limit on selling your house. That's the biggest problem that we've been running into this year. someone selling their house and filing a claim, they feel like we're not moving fast enough for them. So you have to be realistic with the time frame.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, this year especially, the carriers are procrastinating on paying claims. So,
Well, I mean, I don't know about that being this year, Kenny. I mean, that's pretty much there. You know, it seems like it. You know what? Let me correct that. I think you're right in that it's taken longer. I don't know that they're doing it on purpose. I think it's a staffing issue. It's the same thing, the same problem we've had, you know, across the board. Not just in this industry, but every industry.
oh yeah, by no means do I mean that they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah,
It just seems that they are completely understaffed. And
yeah, it's taken longer.
yeah,
And so, by all means, if you're going to file a claim if you're selling your house and you plan on filing a claim, be prepared that if you're going to, let's say you're going to file a claim on your roof, and you want to replace that roof. Maybe you made a deal with the buyer that you would replace the roof, and you're going to file a claim to get the money to replace that roof. That process is going to take a while. That's why, again, like I referenced earlier, a lot of realtors don't want you filing a claim because that process can take several weeks or several months, and can definitely slow down the closing date and all that stuff for selling your house. But if you're not planning on replacing the roof, I think you should absolutely file a claim, because otherwise you're just throwing away all the money you've paid for that policy. And if there was actual damage that happened during that policy period, that insurance company owes you for that damage that happened.
I agree.
Does that make sense? So, cool. That's a good question. Thank you very much for asking that. Where'd that question come from there? That was from
Ryan.
Facebook? Or was that YouTube? You guys, we're live right now on Facebook. We're live on YouTube, Twitter. Where else are we at, Ryan?
We are live on Facebook, Twitter,
Nice.
YouTube, and LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Oh, yeah, baby.
All right, let's go to this next question.
All right, Mazzani speaks.
This next question comes from Nicholas Roberts. He wants to know, does my premium go up when I file a claim?
That's a great question. I get that all the time. Kenny, you get that all the time too, don't you?
Yes, I do.
That's probably the number one question in insurance, I would say, is does my premium go up when filing a claim? The answer is there's no quick and easy answer. The bottom line about insurance is if you become a higher risk, that's why your premium goes up. Now, sometimes your premium just goes up because everybody in the area goes up. It doesn't have anything to do with your claim. Whether you claim or don't claim, your premiums are going to go up. Sometimes the carriers will say, everybody in this geographical region, everybody in the eastern side of the state, or everybody in this whole state, or whatever, all of those premiums are going up by X amount %. You know, so we've had people call us and say, I didn't file because I didn't want my premium going up, but then I got a letter from the carrier saying my premium was going up anyway, so now we want to file. You know,
Right.
So the main thing that makes your premium go up, though, almost systematically, like the formula for a premium going up is when you become a higher risk. So if you have hailstones that fall out of the sky, you can't control that. There's nothing you can do about that. But if you fall asleep smoking a cigarette and you start a house fire, your risk level now goes way up. So now you become a higher risk. Those are things that definitely make your premium go up or get dropped altogether. The carrier can drop you altogether for that. I wouldn't be. Another thing is a lot of people are petrified and mortified if they think about getting dropped by their carrier. It's not the end of the world. There's a lot of carriers, other carriers that want your business. I'm not saying to fall asleep smoking a cigarette by any means, but there are a lot of carriers that want your business and will offer you as good, if not better, rates. And then there's obviously joint underwriter associations and things. So it's not anything to be super worried about. But definitely, if you're gonna, if you want to keep your premiums low, don't fall asleep smoking cigarettes. But don't worry as much about filing claims from things that they call acts of God, things that you have no control over. You know, makes sense.
Yeah, agreed. Yep.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, so we can go to our next question. This one comes from Nicholas Roberts.
Oh yeah, Nick just asked that last one. Oh, he's on Facebook. Good.
Yeah, he wants to know, why have a lot of carriers stopped paying for roofs?
Yeah, that's a golden question. I would say, well, first of all, there's a couple of big ones. So there was a big carrier, starts with an A. I don't want to badmouth anybody. Or big carrier starts with an A, and they have been notorious about not paying for roofs for many, many years. You can have 50 or 60 or 70 missing shingles on the front or on the back, and they still won't pay for replacing that roof. And they've been getting away with it for a long time. There's another carrier, big, huge carrier, starts with an S, and they just recently adopted that model. Before, they were pretty good. If you had non-repairable shingles or shingles that were, what that means is if they will break, as you try to repair this one, it will break the surrounding shingles as you're lifting them, trying to repair them. So if you had non-repairable shingles, and they were pretty good. Let me just tell you this. Industry-wide, most carriers, if you have non-repairable shingles, it means they'll break as you lift them. Most carriers are going to pay for that roof to get replaced. They're not going to leave you with a roof where the contractor comes and has to pick the shingles up to fix it, but it keeps breaking more, so the contractor ends up telling you that you have to replace your whole roof. Most carriers will pay for that. They'll pay for that roof. But these two carriers I just mentioned, they have started adopting these practices of just saying, nah, screw you. You can deal with it yourself. They claim in the policy, there's a part of the policy that says they only owe for direct physical damage, or actually the policy says we owe for direct physical damage for this and this and that. Kenny, that's what the policy actually says.
Yep.
But what they're also misinterpreting or conveniently forgetting about is the other portions of the policy that say that they'll return you to your return the property to its value before the loss. So there's things to consider. It also says that they'll replace with like, kind, and quality. So if you take and you replace a shingle that, let's say your roof is 15 years old and all of it's faded, you started off with a black roof, but now it's a gray roof, and you go back to put another shingle on, it looks completely different. How many of you have driven down the road and you can see a house that has patches on their roof with these big eyesore-looking patches on the roof? Well, that's what these big companies are trying to get away with, and that's probably what this question is referring to. But the bottom line is that the carrier actually, according to the policy, most policies, again, there's different kinds of policies, but most homeowner HO3 policy says that it will restore the property to its value before the loss. And by patching a roof, does that strike you that it's been put back to its value before the loss? For example, if you have two houses right next door to each other, they're exactly identical. Everything is exactly the same, except one of them has big patches on the roof. The other one doesn't, has an even, consistent appearance. Which house do you feel like would be more valuable, right? Obviously, the one that's an even, consistent appearance. So therefore, if a carrier puts you back putting patches on the roof, that is not restoring you to your value before the loss. So therefore, the policy, in fact, does pay to replace the whole roof in that scenario. So they conveniently forget those things. That's just one of many arguments that FADOX has with carriers all day, every day in the industry. So, Kenny, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, let's rewind.
Okay. You've been wanting to find a reason to use that sound effect. That's
yes. So on another aspect of that question is it's not necessarily the carrier that's not approving these roofs. So there's too many hands in the claims process, meaning ladder assist. Certain companies come out and they sign contracts with big name carriers to go out and do all their roof inspections, especially now that COVID's hit. It's like 10 times worse. So these ladder assist companies feel like they want the carrier to have them deny the claim or write for minimum damage.
It feels like that, that's for sure.
That's what it feels like. So a lot of times we'll talk to an adjuster and they're like, man, I wish the guy that sent out there would have just took the accurate pictures. Because
the adjusters are frustrated, you mean? Yeah.
Right, yeah, for the carrier. It's a long process when someone that doesn't really know the industry that just got this job and they think that this is what they need to do to keep being employed.
Yeah.
So
they think this is what the carrier wants them to do.
Exactly. Yeah, but over time, eventually we do get that roof approved. It just takes a lot longer because somebody didn't know what they were looking at, or they had a problem that there was a PA involved.
Yeah, that's true. I appreciate you bringing that up, Kenny, because a lot of times our adjusters, I know this is not just the case with FADOX public adjusters, but also with public adjusters nationwide. And a lot of contractors deal with this too when they meet with ladder assist companies. For you viewers that are watching at home, ladder assist companies started off, it originated by adjusters didn't have long enough ladders to get on roofs. So they would call a contractor, let's say, and the contractor would bring a ladder. But then eventually some contractors got smart to that, and they're like, well, we'll just start a business where we follow around these adjusters. We charge them $100 just to show up with a ladder. Well, then the adjuster started saying, well, here, why don't you take my camera and go up so I don't have to even go up. So the ladder assist guys used to go. I know because I used to work in the ladder assist for a ladder assist, one of the major ladder assist firms. I actually started their DC market for them and grew that. Anyways, never mind. Back in the day. But I was a lot lighter back then. But the ladder, long story short, ladder assists now have created, there's a whole industry. There's major companies, they're nationwide. All they do are roof inspections for insurance companies. And so what Kenny's referring to is a lot of times a ladder assist guy will go up and he'll think that the carrier doesn't want him to find damage. They'll see, we will meet with them, or a contractor will meet with them, point out things that are obvious damage. There's dents all over the metal things on the roof, but the damages to the shingle, the ladder assist will say, oh, that's not hail damage, or that's not wind damage, or whatever, because they think that that's what the carrier wants. They want them to come back with zeros, or come back, zeros means when you've seen a roof and it's been chalked and it says 0 hail damage, and so a lot of times they think that's what the carrier wants. But at the end of the day, when we talk to the carrier and the adjuster is like saying, well, the ladder assist said there's no damage up there, and then we show them the pictures and they're like, this is obvious damage. The adjuster gets frustrated by that. He's frustrated with the ladder assist that they're not giving them a straight response, and so now we have to get an engineer involved and all stuff. And at the end of the day, like Kenny says, 6 months later, after proof that there's actual damage there, the adjuster's frustrated because we've wasted 6 months instead of the ladder assist guy just being, straightforward, either getting educated to know what hail damage is. Maybe the ladder assist guy didn't even know what hail damage was, so he didn't know to call it that, or actually calling it what it is instead of thinking to lean towards it not being hail damage. So most adjusters that we've run into, if it is hail damage, they want to lean towards that. They want to err on the side of the insured, but sometimes they can't do that with misinformation. So good point, Kenny. I appreciate you bringing that up. That's good.
We got time for one more question.
Oh, we do? Okay.
Yeah, we have time for one more question. And this one actually comes from an interaction I had today because this is what I do. So this is from a homeowner that I spoke to personally, and they wanted to know, why do people say becoming a PA is going to the dark side?
Now, Kenny's when we need some sound effects, some lightsabers.
I don't have any of those. I looked for them. I couldn't find them.
Luke.
Sorry to let you down.
Oh, man, that would have been good. So I personally was worked as an insurance adjuster for carriers for almost a decade before I became a public adjuster. I've been a general contractor all through that time, even currently, and even before. I was 8 years old, driving 8 penny nails and standing on an 8-foot step ladder. That's how I remember that.
That's a lot of 8s.
A lot of 8s. So I know I started at least when I was 8 years old or earlier in the industry. Exactly. But once I started thinking and talking about becoming a public adjuster, I started hearing a lot of people say in the insurance industry, they say once you become a public adjuster, you're going over to the dark side, when the reality is, now that I've become a PA, it's exactly opposite. It's the opposite of that. All the adjusters who think that public adjusters are on the dark side of the force, it's the opposite. We're the Jedi Knights fighting against the great empire. If you think about it like that. There's only a few of us. Yes. There's only a few of us public adjusters out there that are standing up for the little guy, and stand up for homeowners. I'm thinking about changing our name to FATOX, the People's Adjuster. You like that one, Islani? No, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
But the bottom line is, they call it going to the dark side of the force just because there's fewer of us. We do get a lot of kickback. Adjusters, if you look at videos online about public adjusters, most of those videos are put out by insurance adjusters or worse than that is insurance company agents, the ones that sell the insurance policies. They hate public adjusters. But homeowners love us. I know with our company FATOX, we've done 500-600 jobs in the last year and a half, and those homeowners absolutely love us, and so I would say definitely not the dark side. The dark side is the empire, and isn't that just like the evil empire to convince the viewers, convince the common folk that the good guys are the bad guys, you know? Well, hey, listen, everybody, thanks for watching this episode of the Ask the Ox Show. We hope you join in. We look forward to seeing you next week. We're doing these every week, Mondays. Most of the time, they'll be Mondays at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have questions, you can put them in the post below, or you can call our 800 number. You can go to our website, www.bigfatox.com. Thank you, Kenny, on the comms there. And look forward to seeing you guys next week on the next episode of the Ask the Ox Show. God bless you.